Good evening, folks. Welcome to this edition of Curveball Convos with your boys at Carolina Curveball. We have a great show packed for you tonight. We are going to recap the weekend that was, as well as preview the midweek. Pretty big midweek slate this week because of Easter this Sunday. Every team, if I'm not mistaken, is starting on Thursday because of Easter. So we will have no Sunday baseball on Easter in the Carolinas. But first, let me introduce my cast. Myself, Casey Romeli, Reed Tobin, Braxton Bodorf, and Braxton. Start off with you, sir. You have an announcement for the people that we're very proud of.
What's that? What's the announcement?
We reached 500 followers on Instagram.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. We did just reach 500 on Instagram, so shout out to all of our Instagram followers. If you haven't followed us already, go follow us over there. We put up plenty of content, pretty much the same as you see on Twitter, but we get you guys more involved with the midweek madness polls and things like that. So definitely excited that with the growth there, but yeah, I guess that is big news for us. We were just talking about 400 not too long ago, Kason, on one of these shows with the coveted cookie cake prize, but I don't know what we're gonna do for 500. So
Yeah, unfortunately, there is no 500 prize, but when we get to a
a
thousand
thousand.
followers, if we get to 1,000 followers, whoever's the 1,000 followers gets a nice big brownie sundae. So that is what the prize is going to be for 1,000 followers. Read and no, you cannot unfollow and get to 999 read, so you get the brownie fire. You cannot. But Reed, how's it going, sir? How was your weekend?
Good. It was a good weekend of baseball. Watched a lot of ball. Excited to talk about it tonight.
Braxton, sir, should we get started, shall we, sir?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
Weekend
I'll pull up the
recap.
scoreboard.
Thank you for pulling up the scoreboard. The first one that is not on the Sunday scoreboard is the Clemson Miami series.
Mm.
Braxton and Reed. Clemson continue to fall. They not only continue to fall on their own, but they also continue to fall in our power rankings as well. They dropped the series to Miami 2-1. Miami wins game one on Thursday, 8-3. Clemson wins game two, 7-6. Then Miami wraps it up 8-6 on Saturday. Um, I really don't know what to say. The only thing I really have to say, I thought it was funny that there was a clip of Bakich going viral this past week of celebrating his guy getting it out on the mound, running out to the field. But when South Carolina does it or other teams do it, it's a problem. But when you do it, you can do whatever you want. So that's my 2 cents on that. Don't know if there's some baseball karma in that, but hey, that's what I want to touch on because it kind of bothered me a little bit. There are some other head coaches in the Carolinas, one at East Carolina, that's kind of hypocritical in that way too as well. So just wanted to address that because I thought it was pretty interesting. So, but to the baseball, Reed and Braxton, your thoughts on the series that was, and hey, is it panic button time in Clemson?
Uh, I don't know if it's panic button time yet, but it certainly is a step in the wrong direction. If you're Clemson, I mean, you're sitting at 2-7 now, I believe it is in the ACC. You haven't won a series yet in the league, so it's obviously not gone well for them to start. And like you mentioned with Bakich, I mean, I think he's got this program to kind of a winning ways where he wanted them to be when he got the job a few years ago, but he hasn't taken that extra step in winning in the postseason and getting them to Omaha, which is where this fan base wants them to be. And I think you're just seeing signs of the same old thing for Clemson. I mean, they kind of struggle this time of year and then kind of limp into the postseason where they usually do host. But right now, it's a question of, in this direction with the schedule not getting much easier, are you going to make the tournament at this point, right? Like, I'm not saying they won't make the tournament. I think Clemson still is good enough to make the tournament. I think that they just have to rely on their talent. I mean, they've had some good performances. Tristan McCloudy had a good week. They still have Purify's been injured. Obviously, we haven't talked about that much. I don't know if Reed was going to touch on that, but Purify's been injured, so that does not help. But they've had an issue on the mound. They've just had an issue of losing ball games here as of late, and they need to turn it around quick because if not, it's going to be bad news down there.
Reed, your take on the series.
Yeah, I'll touch on Connect's struggles this season. It was another rough outing for him on Thursday night. He only went 4 2/3. He walked four batters, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned. He's yet to win a game this season, which is
Yeah.
just crazy to think. His ERA is now 4.73 on the season. After what he's did the past 2 years with this Clemson program, I mean, the expectation they had for him this year, was to be an All-American, and he has not lived up to the bill. That's been part of their struggles. Obviously, like Braxton said, losing Purify here over the past few games has not helped their cause, but they need to turn it around quick, or it's going to be bad for Clemson.
And they have Wake Forest coming up, Braxton, in the midweek, so not getting any easier for them. Braxton, do you know why that is or how that is?
I don't know that. I know that Carolina plays Duke in a midweek this year as well. Like, there's some weird midweeks with ACC matchups. I don't know. I don't think they count towards the conference. That
They
is the
don't.
only game on Wednesday. So I don't know if they're starting their series on Thursday. I haven't even looked. Reed, I don't know if you can
They
touch
are.
on the.
They are. Yeah, they are.
Yes, I mean it's an interesting game. I think it's in Charlotte actually at Truist.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that game, but.
And we'll go on to the next series. West Georgia 2-1 over Queens. Hold on one second. Let me get those scores up. Queens did win the last one 9-8. West Georgia takes game one 10-9. They take game two 7-1. Looking at week 7 honors, there was a Queens guy on our honors, if I'm not mistaken, this week, correct?
Let's see.
I mean, we discussed the Queens guy. Yes. Anibal
Oh yeah,
Riviera.
I'm here for the cycle on Sunday.
Yes. Hit for the cycle on Sunday. It was 6 for 13, 1 RBI, 3 runs scored, home run, triple double, walk, and 3 stolen bases. So I think it's a good step in the right direction for Queens, getting one win over West Georgia. Reed, they're a hotter team in the country than your Camels. They sweep College Charleston 12-10, 6-3, 3-2. They are moving. They're also moving up in the Carolina Curveball power rankings.
I don't know about the country, but in terms of the Carolinas, yes. I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders right now. Another great weekend for them. Sweep. They're sitting now at 11-1 in the CAA. Trent Rumley, big weekend at the plate. Carlos Lugo and Joe Simpson both had good weekends as well. And then David Russo, he had another great outing on the mound too. 6 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 2 hits, 1 earned. This Campbell team is really fun to watch right now, and it's setting the stage for a big one tomorrow night in Chapel Hill.
Braxton Schaffer, another Braxton, shout out Braxton's, went 3 1/3, 6K, 0 earned, 0 hits, and a win. Also, Reed, you touched on Joe Simpson and Carlos Luga, Trent Rumley also went 6 for 11, 6 RBIs, 4 runs scored, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 3 walks. So just a lot of offense there for Campbell and Reed. They continue to be an absolute wagon. Braxton, do you have any thoughts on the Camels, sir?
No, I mean they're rolling, dude. Like I kind of predicted this at the beginning of the season. I figured they would be bouncing back this year, but they've kind of outdone my expectation here, especially in the last few weeks. But look, when the Camels are good, it's good for us. I think to get them back on the mid-major map, especially as of late, I mean, just nationally, is really good for us and really good for them. There was question marks a little bit with Coach Marks. I mean, he's only in his second season, obviously with Coach Hare leaving a couple years ago, but I mean, this team looks primed and ready to compete at the top of the CAA and possibly be back in an NCAA regional, and they're playing like it right now. So I'm really excited to see how they continue to do that, and hopefully they're playing come June.
Charlotte, led by Todd Hudson and Dylan Koontz this weekend, gets the big series win over South Florida 2-1. Charlotte wins game one 11-2. South Florida wins game two 9-5. Charlotte then clinches the series 10-3 in the rubber match. As I said before, Todd Hudson for Charlotte, 7 for 14, 6 RBIs, 6 runs, 2 home runs, 1 double, 3 walks. Dylan Coons was 10 for 15, 6 RBIs, 6 run scores, 2 home runs. Also, Cody Gunderson added 2 home runs and 7 RBIs on the weekend as well. Reed, Charlotte made a statement in the American this weekend that they're going to be there at the top, knocking off South Florida. South Florida, who is a really good team. Reed, we'll get into more American talk later as UTSA knocks off ECU. But Reed, Charlotte made a statement this weekend that, hey, they are here and they're here to win the American.
Yeah, it was a good bounce back. After losing the past two series, they needed to get back on track. And then, having a really good South Florida team that was really hot coming into this weekend. And Charlotte took care of business. Like you touched on Adam Stanton, he was great yesterday to get them the win in the rubber match, going 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs. So really impressive weekend from Charlotte to get back on track. And me and Kaysen, you have talked about, the American just seems wide open right now. No teams really jumped out right now. I think this is a 4 or 5 team race right now.
I definitely think it is, and I think it's going to heat up quickly as
Yeah.
ECU hosts Charlotte this weekend. That'll be a massive series in the American. Read 2 massive series this past weekend. Braxton, we'll get your kind of take on it. You had South Florida, Charlotte, and then you had ECU and UTSA. You could argue those are the 4 teams that will be at the top when it's all said and done. But Braxton, Charlotte, making a statement at home, and both of the home teams win this weekend and win rubber matches as well.
Yeah, certainly a big weekend for Charlotte. They handed USF their first series loss of the season, and I think you're right. I think it is a 4-team race kind of in the American with UTSA, ECU, Charlotte, and USF. So yeah, definitely the schools that played each other this week are kind of in the top of that race. And I believe all the American is like either 4-2, 3-3, or 2-4. Like there's no one
Yeah,
that's
correct.
5-1 or better,
Yeah.
or 1-5 and worse, which is pretty. That's telling to that conference as to how competitive it is and how it's going to
Yes.
be throughout the season. So definitely potential for a 2 to 3 bid league there. I think depending on how it plays out. I don't want to say 3 bid league just because that's very difficult for a mid-major conference. But if there's a conference in the country right now that could have it, it's probably the American or the Sun Belt. Just looking at how things have been going. So
100%. Before we get to the Sun Belt with Coastal Carolina, let's move to the SoCon. Western drops the series to the Citadel. I think this is, I don't know too much of a shocker. I know I picked Western to win this series. The Citadel wins game 1 4-3, game 2 13, bless you, 13-9. Western Carolina then run rules the last one 16-3. The Citadel was led by Jaden Williams, who was 5 for 10, 8 runs scored, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 3 stolen bases. Just a blazer on the bases. Christian Stratus for Citadel, 5 for 10, 5 RBIs, a run scored, a triple, 2 doubles, 2 walks, and TJ Anderson, 6 for 14, 6 RBIs, 2 runs, a triple, a double, 4 walks, and 4 stolen bases. Reed, the Citadel kind of making a statement here in the SoCon after a slow start. After a brutal start to their season, as they had one of the tougher schedules in the entire country. They had the toughest schedule in the Carolinas for the non-conference. So nice win here, and Western Carolina taking a step back and out of our power rankings.
Yeah, it's a good series win for Citadel. I don't think it really surprises many of us. We've seen them be so competitive in this brutal schedule that they've played so far this season. So credit for them. To put themselves in position here in the SoCon. I still think Mercer's a class above all the other teams in the SoCon, but this is a big series win for them.
Also want to touch on Walker Fox for Western Carolina, was on our honor roll, 7 for 15, 11 RBIs, 5 runs scored, 2 home runs, a double, and 3 walks. So very nice there for them, looking to bounce back. And Braxton, Coastal Carolina, when's the last time they lost a Sun Belt game? Goodness gracious. What is this? What is the stat?
31
Yeah.
in a row.
31 Sun Belt games in a row. I think that's correct.
How is that
It's
even possible? How is that even possible?
just the product of good coaching and a great ball club. I mean, you look at the way they ended the season last year and just kind of went on that run straight into Omaha. Like they just cannot lose a game. Like
No.
the way they play, the way they battle, it's all credit to Schnall and that program, and they just continue it right into this season. I thought with the injury stuff, they kind of hit a little bit of a rough patch early in this year, but they have just kind of cruised right into Sun Belt play, and they've gotten hot at the right time again, and they just refuse to lose. I mean, when they lose a Sun Belt game, it's going to be huge for whoever who gets it done against them because of this streak that has now become very evident nationally. And I thought Marshall could have grabbed one there, but they end up not being able to get one. And all credit to Coastal. They're now what 6-0 or maybe 9-0. I don't know.
9-0.
9-0. App and JMU. That's right. So yeah, they're. I mean, if it's between them and Southern Miss, I'm taking Coastal all day. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah. Southern Miss has tripped up here too. The first 3 weeks, they've yet to sweep in any of their 3 series. But I mean, like you said, Braxton, I mean, Coastal's really starting to hit their gear. They've won 7 in a row, 12 out of their last 13. And I think the scary thing is they're still not healthy. You lose Trace Mason. He's out for 8 weeks too, who's been arguably their best hitter. And then we know about all their injuries on the mound. I mean, this is scary to think, how they're playing right now, what they could potentially look like at the end of the season if they get healthy.
Walker Mitchell for them, 6 for 15, 7 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a double, 4 walks, 2 stolen bases. Jordan Taylor, 4 for 8, 6 RBIs, 2 home runs. And Darren Horn on the mound for Coastal Carolina, 6 innings, 12 Ks, 0 earned, 4 hits, and a win.
The way Horn came in to that game against Clemson and just completely, I mean, you could just tell with his demeanor on the mound that he was going to shut them down and win that game for them. I mean, he's been tremendous. He's not a high velocity guy. He just has that wicked movement on that 87, 88, 89 mile per hour fastball, and he just takes it right at the guys that he's facing. And I love watching him pitch because it's efficient, it's effective, and I mean, what a weapon for Coastal to have around all the other ones that we already know they have too. And like Reed said, when they get healthy, I mean, this team I could see in Omaha yet again, to be honest with you.
How many of these guys is Schnall going to bring over to Columbia?
0 because he's staying.
He's not
going. I'm just best. I 1000% do not think he's going anywhere. But if you go look on Starkline Message board, you would think he's the head coach yesterday. So
they need to pay him $100 million.
Hey, what they need to do is pull LSU administration with the Will Waiting Kiffin.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. They need to take a lesson from their neighbor for sure. I hope this isn't too loud. Is the paper too loud? Could you hear it?
It's fine.
Okay, good. Davidson, nice A-10 win over Dayton. They lose game 1, 20-4. We're thinking, Davidson is in trouble. But then they go to win the last 2, 9-7 and 9-8. Very happy for Davidson here. I think this is good. Anthony Torreso, 6 for 16, 9 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 3 home runs, and 3 walks. Also, Matthew, I'm going to butcher your name, kid, Mangerun, 5 for 14, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 2 home runs, a double, 3 walks, and a stolen base. And Aiden Rice, 6 for 15, 2 RBIs, a run scored, 2 doubles, and a walk. Nice work here. Also, Cooper Kavanaugh on the mound for them, 5 innings, 5 Ks, 0 earned, 2 hits, and a win. Nice here for Davidson in the A-10, who was kind of towards the bottom third of the A-10. But like what I see here, do y'all have any comments on Davidson after that first one? Friday night, I checked the score until 20-4. I was like, oh, no. Matt's Wildcats are not going to be doing that.
Yeah, they've had some blowout losses, but they've been battling through it. I mean, this is a huge series win. I think it puts them kind of in the middle of the pack there in the A-10. I think VCU and St. Joseph's have kind of separated themselves at the top, but especially against a team like Dayton, I think you've got to fight in this conference to kind of be middle of the pack to upper of the pack. And I think Davidson, we've talked about last week, what they lost this past year and kind of how they've been able to reset, and they've struggled a little bit this year, but it's good to see them win a series out, especially at home against Dayton. So good battle, good fight. They went on a walk off there in the rubber match, which was good to see.
Florida State 2-1 over Duke. Duke coming off the walk-off versus ECU on Tuesday. Dropped game one, 3-1 to Florida State, 12-11 to Florida State, and then 11-4 Duke on Sunday. Duke hung in there when I think a lot of us didn't really give them a chance going into the weekend. But hey, Reed, they were right there with them, and still without Cannon. Has anyone asked for an update? Does Duke have media to give updates or? I mean, seriously.
Maybe they do now.
Maybe they do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the show. Holy shit. Toby.
Yeah, I haven't seen an update on him. I would imagine he's still probably got some time. I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago when they ruled him out for 8 weeks. So I would imagine he's probably out for all of April. But we'll have to see. But no, Duke was really competitive this weekend. They were honestly a few plays away from possibly taking this series. They made 3 errors in that game on Saturday. And then, in a pitcher's duel on Friday night too. But I think the big story of this weekend, I mean, it's non-Carolinas related, is the gruesome injury to Miles Bailey. I mean, that is a shame. What a player he is, sliding in the second, and then he breaks his ankle. Sucks for the sport. I mean, he's been really fun to watch this season and last year.
Reed, after watching Duke on Tuesday for the first time in person, I mean, they make some critical errors at the worst moments. And on Tuesday, it did not – I mean, it hurt them at points, but at the end of the day, they won the game on Tuesday. And, Reed, it's funny how you say that this weekend. I wasn't able to watch all the games this weekend between them, but – Reed, you said those errors, but I mean, they need to clean it up because, like you said, they were a few errors away. And Reed, they were maybe, if ECU can close out in the ninth inning, those errors cost them. What would that then be, Reed? That cost them 2 or 3 games this week just because of critical errors. I mean, before you answer, Reed, on Tuesday, 3 of the errors were throwing to first base after ground balls hit to the left side of the infield, which was just bizarre to me.
Yeah. I mean, Duke needs to clean up some things. But I'm liking the fight from this team I've seen. I think they've kind of overperformed more than what I thought. I like Corey Mascara's approach. He's a little aggressive on the base pass. I mean, I think they're top 5 in the country in stolen bases. But, it can cost them at times. We saw that on Tuesday. They were thrown out multiple times, including this weekend, caught stealing multiple times. But I still think it's a good week overall from Duke. I know they wanted the series win this weekend, but, going 2-2 against ECU and then a top 10 team in Florida State is not bad at all.
Monmouth sweeps Elon 6-3, 9-7, 8-2. If I'm not mistaken, they're up top on the CAA, if I'm not mistaken. I swear Monmouth is up there.
No, Campbell is.
Well, correct. I know Campbell's up top, but I mean.
Yeah, Monmouth's 10-2.
Yeah, they're not 10-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't mean top, but they're up there. Speaking of being on the top, High Point sweeps Gardner Webb 10-3, 12-8, 15-4. Yeah. I want to ask you guys, does this come as a shock? I also want to highlight Braxton. I'll let you say the player of the week. I don't want to mess up his name, but he was phenomenal at the plate and just massive week for High Point.
Yeah, Seo-Jun Oh, the Korean. I mean, what a week for him. He had 4 home runs, I think, in that series.
Future Dodger.
Yeah, future Dodger. Colby will be excited for that. But, I mean, High Point, I expected kind of Gardner Webb to kind of go at him here, especially at home. And me and Casey did pick them. But, I mean, you got to give all the credit to High Point here coming into Gardner Webb to Bowling Springs and just absolutely raking all weekend. I mean, they scored 10-plus runs in every game. This offense is not slowing down anytime soon. I think that's evident now. And, we took them out of the rankings last week kind of undeservingly. They had a sweep, and I think this is probably the first time a team has swept the weekend and been dropped from the rankings in curveball history possibly. But all credit to them. They're back in the rankings, deservingly so. Yeah, Landon Johnson, also a great week for them. And they're looking to kind of ride this high in Big South play. Obviously, they didn't start well with the loss at Upstate in the first series, but I think they've gone. Did they
They've won
drop?
8 in a row.
Yeah, I think they've won 7 straight in this Big South since
Yeah,
losing.
they're 7-2, won 8 overall though.
Yeah, so obviously Winthrop's still unbeaten in the Big South, but High Point is right there, kind of in second place right now. So yeah, really big series for them on the road, especially against what has been a solid Gardner Webb team so far this year.
You touched on the offense. I want to touch on the pitching. Mateo Wells, 7 innings, 10 Ks, 1 earned, 2 hits, a win, save, as well as Noah Zimmerman, 4 innings, 5 Ks, 0 earned, 0 hits, 1 save. I think for High Point in the past couple of years since we've had Curveball, the offense has been there. It's just the pitching. They've had Wade Walton. Wade Walton. I forgot the guy who got drafted by the Yankees. They had Gus Hughes was good, but
Yeah.
just kind of like outside of those top guys, when they get kind of deep into the dog days of the season, they don't really necessarily have guys that step up. But I think that with these pitching performances that we've been seeing in our honors every week, I mean, hey, High Point, they're there, and I think they made a statement going there to the house that Mason Miller built, and also. Side note: his entrance is the craziest thing in the whole
That's
wide
pretty
world.
sweet.
Shout out Gardner Webb. If you ain't seen it, look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Reed, did you have any comments? Sorry.
No, I mean, I think y'all both make good points. This Big South race is really starting to heat up. It's going to be a fun next couple of weeks. Right now Winthrop, High Point, and then Upstate's a little behind right now. Charleston Southern obviously swept this weekend, so I think right now it's a 2-team race, but it would not shock me if Upstate's there too, right at the end.
In North Carolina, A&T 2-1 over G-Town. I got this right to pick them. I'm pretty proud of this one. I cannot even lie to you. I want to see if anyone else picked A&T like I did. I was the only one. Me and Matt picked A&T 2-3.
Wow.
Proud of that one. I can't even lie to you. I want to toot my own horn there. They lose game 1 though, 17-6. I was like, but they win game 2, 13-8. Game 3, 3-2. I'm gonna see if they had anybody. They didn't. Oh, they did. Bruce Weiss.
Yeah.
Bruce Weiss. Whoosh. Jeez. He was little
Bruce
bit of a
Weiss.
tongue twister there. Oh my gosh. He was 6 for 14, 6 RBIs, 7 runs, a home run, 2 doubles, 2 walks, as well as Andrew Tinsley, 6 for 15, 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a home run, 2 walks, and Luis Gomez, 6 for 14, 8 RBIs, 2 runs, 2 doubles, 1 stolen base, and Barrett went 3 innings, 6 Ks, 0 earned, 0 hits, 1 win. Hey, they are going to make some noise in the CAA. I'm writing it down right now. Maybe not this year, but in the future. So big for them. Shout out A&T. Next one is Sanford with a 2-1 win over Presbyterian. Presbyterian wins game 1 7-5, has some hope, and then Sanford takes the next 2 7-4 and 5-0. Georgia then sweeps South Carolina 5-2, 3-1, 9-7. I was unable to watch the series. Was any of these relatively super close, or did
Yeah.
South have a chance to win?
They led yesterday, they led yesterday pretty late, and Georgia kind of pulled it out. I think that was probably the closest of the games, but overall, pretty like dominant series for Georgia. I would say they kind of just controlled the game on both sides of the ball. I would say, Reed.
Yeah, I mean, I would say South Carolina looks miles better than they did with Maneri. I know they went 0-4 this week, but they've been a lot more competitive. Obviously, we saw that in the last 2 games last weekend against Arkansas. And then, I mean, all these games were pretty close, respectively, to a really good Georgia team.
I mean, they're in dead last right now in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to win too many SEC games, and they're playing better with Monty Lee.
Yeah, think about it. It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be.
Just crazy thing. Upstate, Braxton, your guys over UNC Asheville. They win game one, 11-10. Game two, 14-1. And then Asheville takes the last one, 5-3. Braxton, you have the floor as well as highlight on some guys. We had a few guys in
Yeah.
on a roll
Did
this
they
week.
get the walk off? They get the walk off extra inning win in game one, which was absolutely huge. To kind of set the tone of the series. Then they just boat raced them on Saturday, which was good to see. And this has kind of been the struggle for Upstate a lot of the season. They don't get the sweep. They've kind of haven't really put a full weekend together. I think is the biggest thing, especially. I think Kane Sweeney would agree with that. They haven't been able to put a full weekend together where they can just kind of be dominant, or a full week even. Like they've had some good weekends, but bad midweeks, and some good midweeks and bad weekends. And I think that's kind of been the theme this year for Upstate, and that's why they find themselves just a game under 500. Obviously, they played a really tough schedule, which has been helping their RPI here early in the season. Like I think they're a top 60 or 50 RPI despite being under 500. But you've got to start winning and sweeping these series, especially against Asheville, to kind of keep pace in the Big South. Obviously, you get the series win against High Point. You still get to play some of those big hitters in the Big South, like Winthrop, later down the season. But yeah, if you want to highlight some of those guys, I mean, they've certainly played really well this season. We're looking for them to take that next step because, like, we haven't had them in the rankings yet, and they've kind of been right there. And it's tough to put a team that's under 500 in the rankings. So we just kind of need them to get over that hump and just put a really good week or weekend together, just overall as a whole.
Correct. Tyler Lang, 5 for 12, 10 RBIs, 5 runs, 3 home runs, 6 walks.
Yeah,
Jake Armsy, 7 for 18, 6 RBIs, 2 runs, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 walks. Henry Zenor, 5 for 16, 6 RBIs, 7 runs scored, 2 home runs, a double, 5 walks, 2 stolen bases. Also want to touch on Blaze Johnson. Was not on our honor roll, but we did jot him down for UNC Asheville. He's been an absolute stud for the Bulldogs with 6 for 17, an RBI, 3 runs scored, a double, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Um, Good work there, fellas. Reed, pass it down to you. UNC sweeps Notre Dame 6-5, 13-7, 15-10. Walker McDuffie was on our honor roll this week. He went 8 2/3, 13 Ks, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, and got 2 wins. Reed, looks like Walker McDuffie is back and throwing absolute gas.
Yeah, he he had a really good week for the Heels. Really impressive week for Carolina. Beating up on South Carolina and Charlotte, and then going up to South Bend to a really hot Notre Dame team that had just entered the top 25. I was thinking they'd probably just take 2 out of 3, but to go up there and sweep them, that was really impressive. DeCaro, he had 9 strikeouts. I think that in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday, I think that was a season high in strikeouts. But Cooper Nicholson had his best weekend as a heel at the plate this weekend. Multiple homers. I think he drove in like six or seven RBIs too. And then and then Gavin Gallagher and Jake Schaffner both had really good weekends as well at the plate. The Heels have really started to heat up too after that opening ACC series loss to Virginia. I think they've won 8 out of 9. Now they're sitting at, what are they now, 9-3 in the conference bracket,
yeah,
or 7-2,
9-3.
9-3.
Yeah,
Braxton, I'll get your take on the Heels.
yeah. I mean, really impressed for them to win these ball games. I think they just showed real good resilience. They didn't get the best starts out of some of their staff this weekend, especially Boaz and Lynch. I think DeCaro had a quality start, but to see the offense kind of overcompensate for those bad starts and win these games is really impressive. I think if there was a question mark coming into the season or even during the season for this team, it was the offense. And to see them hit as well as they did up in South Bend with this Notre Dame team that we saw rake all weekend as well, I think that's a huge positive. So to sweep this is an absolute huge step for Carolina. I do want to touch on Jake Schaffner. I mean, he's been in Owen Hole too. Those two have been really, really, really good at the top of that lineup from the left-handed side for the Heels. But go ahead, Reed.
I think this was the best weekend that Carolina's had at the plate this season.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Braxton?
Yeah, certainly. I would 100% agree with that. Just in terms of like the game, like the way the games went, like the way
they were down
Yeah.
yesterday and they exploded for 8 runs there in the fifth.
I mean,
or sixth inning.
they had to show up
Yeah.
offensively to win this to sweep the series, and they did so.
Yeah.
So really good to see.
Yeah, did you guys want to read those guys off? I can if you want. I can if you want me to.
You got it.
Okay. Cooper Nicholson, 6 for 11, 5 RBIs, 5 runs, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 5 walks. Owen Hall, 8 for 19, 7 RBIs, 2 runs scored, 3 doubles, 2 walks, stolen base. Gavin Gallagher, 6 for 19, 4 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a home run, a double, 2 walks, 2 stolen bases. As Braxton said, Schaffner really stepped up, went 6 for 16, 7 RBIs, 6 runs, a home run, 2 doubles, 3 walks, and 3 stolen bases. That is phenomenal work from the Bison transfer. The next one, Wofford sweeps UNCG 8-7, 6-1, 6-3. Logan Tribble, 4 for 11, 6 RBIs, 2 runs, a double, and a walk. Ben Timblin for Wofford, 4 for 9, 2 RBIs, 4 runs, a double, 4 walks, stolen base. Mark Quare, nice name, 6 for 12, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored, a home run, a stolen base, a double, and a walk. And Cade Collins, 4 for 9, 3 RBIs, 3 runs, 2 doubles, 5 walks. Reed.
Wofford's got.
Go ahead, Reed.
Go ahead, Braxton. Yeah, I mean, you were probably going to say the same thing, but Wofford's kind of probably going under the radar right now, flying under the radar. They're at 18-9 right now. They've won 4 in a row. I mean, it's early. They're currently in first in the SoCon. They've only played 1 series. But this is really impressive bounce back after the disappointing season they had last year.
Braxton.
Yeah, no, Reed kind of stole the words out of my mouth. They're sitting at 19-9. I think it did Reed actually 19-9, the 5th best record in the Carolinas. The only thing that this is possibly a team that deserves to be ranked. The only thing is their strength of schedule at 275 and their RPI at 192. I think is kind of hurting them a little bit, but to see them win games, especially we know UNCG is a tough opponent, especially in the SoCon. I expect them to win this series, but it's impressive that they were able to sweep. Wofford's always going to be in the mix. I think that if they continue to win this direction, they'll find themselves in the rankings despite that low strength of schedule and RPI.
They're at South Carolina tomorrow.
Yeah.
Upset watch?
I think. Well, that's not even. Do we even call that an upset? I think a lot of us would expect Wofford to win that game.
How far they have fallen.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Wake Forest takes the series from Cal 2-1. The first game was postponed to Saturday. Do you know why, Braxton?
No.
I know Wake has lights at the couch, so maybe.
I think it was just no. Oh, it was that was the game that I think it was just a weather delay. Kind of the storms kind of hit on Friday night, and they just moved that to finish on Saturday. I think.
It
right?
did. It did rain Friday.
It
did rain Friday. You're right. It did rain. That makes sense. So it was postponed. It was 5-4 Cal on the top of the 7th, and then Wake goes and wins that game and scores 5 unanswered, and wins 9-5 to take it. They then play a doubleheader. Wake wins game 2, 4-1 to take the series, and then Cal wins the last one 5-3. Braxton or Reed, you guys have the floor to discuss that one while I see if we got any guys. I know we do. He actually just retweeted us. Shout out Marcelo Harsh, if that's how I say his last name. 4 1/3, 10K, 0 earned, 0 hits, and a save. So shout out him.
Braxton, do you want to take it? Or
yeah, with Wake, I think it's just they're sitting at 6-6 right now. in league play, 20-8 overall. I think they've played a tough kind of opening ACC schedule. This was a series to me they had to win, especially at home. I think if it was on the road in California, it'll be different. But at home against California, and I think you're right, Casey. With that game that kind of got resumed the next day, and they kind of took control of it despite going to bed, losing that game, and then waking up, taking that game, kind of jumped them into gear and allowed them to win this series. Obviously, impressive for Cal to get the win yesterday in Game 3, but Wake's kind of an interesting team for me. I think they kind of moved up in the rankings this week just kind of by default with State and Clemson struggling. But I certainly don't have them as highly rated right now as Coastal and Carolina. But I think they are, solidified as a top 5 team in the Carolinas. And just we've talked about it all year with their talent on both sides of the ball. I mean, I think about their rotation and their midweek starter Cam Bagwell. Like they're deep as anyone on the mound, and also they've got hitters out the wazoo with Cade Lewis, Luke Costello, Dalton Wentz. I mean, they've got a lot of talent on this roster, and if they can stay healthy, I can see them, possibly pushing to be a really good 2 seed or maybe even a host if they play their cards right.
I did want to touch on, speaking of staying healthy, Walter did announce that left-hander Matthew Dallas to have elbow surgery, missed the rest of the 2026 season. That is pretty significant news there, Reed. Anything you want to add to that or the Deacons? I do want to say before you say that, he had a sub-3 ERA the 2 games before removed against his start against Siena. Was a phenomenal piece for that team and tough going forward. But I mean, when you have Cam Bagwell starting on your Tuesday, so I think you're doing just fine.
Yeah, I think Braxton nailed it with Wake. I think those are all perfect comments he makes. But I believe Dallas, his injury happened about a month ago, and
Correct.
they had originally thought that it wasn't as severe, and
Yes.
then now we're just now finding out about it. Yeah, it's a tough. That's a huge loss for Wake. It really looked like Dallas had improved from last year, but I mean they're just going to need that weekend rotation. Morningstar, he's got to be more consistent. Lenovis has been great, as we've touched on many times before. And I mean, that offense is going to score runs for them. I'd like to see Wake, maybe string some series wins in a row here coming up.
Southern Miss takes the series over App State. Southern Miss wins game 1 6-5. App takes game 2 6-2 to force a rubber match in which Southern Miss wins 13-4. Braxton, you touched on it earlier. If you're going to take a team in the Sun Belt, you're taking Coastal over Southern Miss. Reed, are you the same right now, or do you still believe in your Golden Eagles?
I'm with Braxton, Coastal.
Money's the one you got to ask about.
Yeah, I mean, Southern Miss is really good, but they've kind of struggled out of the gate here in Sun Belt play. Like I said earlier in the show, they've yet to sweep a series. I mean, I've touched on in past shows how much more improved the Sun Belt is this year outside of Southern Miss and Coastal. But I think Coastal right now, the way they're playing, I think is the best team in the Sun Belt right now.
Shout out App State. Gage Peterson just followed us on Instagram. He's been an absolute animal on the mound for the Mountaineers. So rooting for you too, kid, if you are watching. Winthrop, I mean, really just beats Charleston Southern and kind of, I wouldn't say a shock, but I definitely thought Charleston would get a win here at least. They sweep them 4-0, 14-4, 5-4. Reed, your Buccaneers. Braxton, your Eagles, sir. I mean, whoever wants to argue first, I'll let go.
Dude,
Braxton,
if you're not on the Winthrop train yet, it's time to get on it. This team, I mean, I've been saying it. Like they have the second best win percentage in the Carolinas right now, just behind North Carolina. They take a little detour out to the West Coast, just casually, win 3 out of 4 games. They come back. They sweep, a really good Charleston Southern team in conference. They sweep Radford in their first conference series. I mean, that's all this team does is win games right now. I'm looking for them to kind of get tested. I think Upstate will be a challenging series for them when that comes around. I think High Point, if they play each other, will be a tough series. I think they do play each other. I think everyone plays.
I'll
Everyone.
check. Yeah, I'll check.
I'm pretty sure everyone plays everyone, but I
They
could be
do play
wrong.
everyone because everyone has the off week.
Yeah, so I mean, they still got some tests, but I mean, if it's me right now, I think this is the front runner in the Big South. I mean, they have shown that they've gotten a lot better just over the course of a couple years with McGuire. And I mean, like I said, if you're not on the Winthrop train, it's time to get on it because I can see them playing in a regional this year if they play their cards right. And yeah, I mean, all they do is win. They're 6-0 in Big South right now. And from the Buccaneers side of things, I think this is a tough series to go on the road. Probably against the hottest team in the Big South. They almost get a game, but they let Winthrop kind of get back in it. I think this was yesterday's game where Winthrop walked them off. It might have even been in extras, but it's kind of a gut wrenching loss if you're Charleston Southern. But you've got to move on quick, and you've got to find a way to pick up a series win in your next Big South series. So kind of keep pace.
Yeah, I definitely think it's Winthrop or High Point. I think that from the naked eye, if you're not really paying attention to the Carolinas like us, you would maybe say High Point because they have that big series win over Florida. But Winthrop, kind of like you said, Braxton, if you're not on them now, pause. I mean, get on them soon because I mean they are a very very hot team. Have not lost a game in the Big South, but
Love that you're counting. We love that you're counting us out over there at Upstate.
No, but yes, Braxton, I have been on the Winthrop train. I agreed with you in the preseason. I thought they were going to be really good this year. They've certainly backed that up. They've been really impressive here after getting swept at Auburn. But yes, High Point and Winthrop, they play May 8th through May 10th at Winthrop.
that's right.
When is it? When is it?
May 8th through May 10th
Where's it at?
at Winthrop.
Yeah, Winthrop, right? Yeah.
No, at High Point.
Oh, you're talking about High Point. I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was talking about the Upstate series.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking about High Point hosting Winthrop.
Yes, correct.
Say that one more time. Sorry, I blanked.
May 8th through the 10th, second to last weekend of the season.
It'd be a fun one to go to.
That will be a great
Yeah.
one to go to for sure.
It's depending on the situation of the conference, right? Like, I can recall when we, in my season in the Big South, we played Campbell in I think it was the last series of the season, and basically to win the conference, we had to sweep them. So like, if it sets up in a way like that, it could be absolute popcorn there between those two, depending on how it plays out. But yeah, exciting stuff. I mean, I'm loving the Big South race so far. I think that's going to be a fun. By the way, that tournament is in Asheville this year, which is interesting.
Asheville.
I believe it's in Asheville this year.
Maybe have to maybe get a little B&B in Asheville. Spend the week in Asheville. That'd be a whole lot,
That'd be
a
fun.
lot of fun.
It'd be fun.
A whole lot of fun for sure. Reed Tobin, our alma mater, the East Carolina Pirates. Probably Reed the most frustrating week of ECU baseball I've encountered in my lifetime. The walk off on Tuesday, and then the absolute melt on Sunday. They were down, come back, have a 2-run lead in the ninth, lose it. But I first want to talk about the positive Reed. Ethan Norby, as you know, I never doubted him. I always knew he needed to be on the mound, not in the pen. Jokes always, Reed. Norby was our curveball pitcher of the week, going 7 innings, 12 Ks, 0 earned, 1 hit, and got the win on Friday night. And it really looked positive from the Pirates. I was very curious to see how they responded after Tuesday getting walked off by Duke, losing that one late, choking. But Reed, Norby looked good as well. I'll just get your opening thoughts on that, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, frustrating. I don't even know if that's the right word to use. We're talking ECU right now. How disappointed. I mean, they're a few plays away from really shooting up probably our rankings. They don't walk as many batters as they do on Tuesday. Make a pitching change, maybe you bring Jenkins in maybe on Tuesday to close the game out. They win that game, and then they're 1 out away yesterday from winning that series in a pivotal rubber match against a really good UTSA team. But I mean Norby. I mean that was great to see. By far his best start of the season. I think all ECU fans were expecting more of that start in and start out from him. So I'm hoping this is the start of a really good run from Norby. But I'm worried they're going to have still with no update about Van Kippen or Weber. They're going to
Van
have to figure.
Kippen is rumored to be back at the beginning of May. Weber
Okay.
likely done for the season. So
Okay. I mean, yeah, they're going to have to figure something out on Saturday. I know I've mentioned to you that maybe they really should highly consider bringing Jenkins to the rotation. You do lose a key piece to the bullpen if you do that. I mean, Ethan Rose has been great. He got the start though on Sunday and was roughed up a little
he
bit.
wasn't roughed up. He walked 5 guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. I mean, that's been an issue with ECU this season. Just walking too many batters that's cost them multiple times this season. We saw that down in Conway too as well.
Braxton, what's your take on the Pirates, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the fight that they showed, especially there yesterday. They were down 5-0, and they fall all the way back and take the lead. Obviously, they end up choking the game again. But I think, like Reed said, they're just a couple plays away from we're us having a completely different conversation. But it feels like this happens all the time with them, and just being a couple plays away or just being right off the beat there. And this is a series that if you win this series, it definitely gets the kind of attitudes turned around for the Pirates, especially in the fan base and in that locker room. Just because this is the top of the American. I mean, UTSA is probably arguably the other really, really good team in the American. I mean, yes, Charlotte's good. Yes, USF's good. But over the last few years, it's been ECU and UTSA. And I think that, to go on the road and play them this tight and not come away with the series win, knowing that it was right there within your reach, is definitely kind of a big blow to the Pirates. But you still have a lot in front of you. It feels like we have the same conversation about them every week, like disappointing here, disappointing there, some positives here, some positives there, but it's all to play for in front of you. At what point is it going to be like, they're kind of have a dominant week and we start talking about them, being a real threat again? I don't know, but you have plenty of opportunities in the series coming up. I think if you beat Charlotte, that's a huge plus, especially at home, defending home turf. You've got some midweek opportunities coming up against against Wilmington again, and
Wilmington, yep.
coming up as well. So, it's tough with the injuries. Obviously, huge blow with Van Kempen. I mean, he's been your guy all year. Norby is definitely a huge positive from the weekend. And if I'm ECU, I'm moving Jenkins to the rotation. I agree with Reed. I think you want your best pitchers throwing the most innings, and I think with the way it's played out with the injuries, I think the way that Jenkins is going to throw more innings for you is to just slot him in as a starter and have him run out for 6, 7, 8 innings a week. You're not always going to get that out of the pen. You're going to get him in high leverage situations. But if he's going to give your team the best chance to win, and it needs to come from the start, you've got to do that, especially with how it's gone. So we'll see what they do. But that's my take on Pirates.
I agree. I think it's a very good point. Well, I'll wrap it up quickly, but I think with the ECU, the hesitancy is like outside of Jenkins, there's not much in the pen. I mean, it's just not good. I mean, Webb. You can question the decisions to leave him in. You can question the decision to leave Hogan on Tuesday. I don't know. I think it's frustrating coming from an alumni. Part of me thinks it's the baseball gods doing this to Cliff Godwin until he changes attitude towards media and towards other people. Kind of drives me nuts. You cuss out a media member, but the next morning you post a Bible verse on your Twitter. Just kind of frustrating. Like I guess people do. I guess people they want to do, huh? But just to wrap it up, Braxton, I'm with you 100%. I'm tired of that shit every single week. Oh, the Pirates have an opportunity. Pirates have opportunity.
Yeah.
I think personally at where we're looking at now, they're at large chances are done. They're gonna have to go to Clearwater and wipe and have to win it again, which I'll say they're capable of doing. But I think that if it lines up not in their favor, we got to go UTSA, South Florida, Charlotte, 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's going to be tough. And to wrap it up, I don't think Jenkins goes to the bullpen just because of your options there. But I'm with you. Your best pitchers should be throwing your most innings. So we'll wrap it up there to the team that ECU is going to play tomorrow. UNC Wilmington 2-1 over William and Mary. They win game one 5-3, and then they win game two by 3 touchdowns, 22-1. And then they lose game three to William and Mary 9-8. Reed, this Wilmington team has been absolutely outstanding this season. They have a lot of guys. Mason Hughes, who's leading the Carolinas in batting average, 3 for 8, 6 RBIs, 4 runs, a double, 4 walks, 1 stolen base. Touch on Kevin Jones, 4 for 11, 7 RBIs, 2 runs, a home run, a double, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Last one, Aiden Evans, another tongue twister, 4 for 7, 3 runs, a double, and a stolen base. Reed, what are you looking forward to tomorrow night as these two teams play together, the Pirates as well as recap Wilmington and how hot they're playing?
Yeah, I've said Wilmington's pitching staff just continues to impress with their weekend rotation. Cooper Allen turned in another great start, 6 innings pitched, 9 Ks, 1 hit, 1 earned. He's now 4-0 on the year with a sub 1.4 ERA. He's been phenomenal. I wish that we could see him go up against Norby tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. But Wilmington continues to impress. Really liking what I'm seeing. The CAA race is certainly starting to heat up as well. You've got Monmouth shockingly up there too right now too. Northeastern starting to play better, as I mentioned on the last show. And then obviously we already touched on Campbell.
Braxton, to wrap this up, Georgia Tech sweeps NC State 3-1, 6-4, then 10-0. Me and Reed kind of said it on the phone, not on the show. I don't think that NC State has one of these weeks every year where they just get blanked on the weekend and they kind of figure it out. But I mean, this one is not good. Granted, Georgia Tech's a very good team, but not very good from the back.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a disappointing week. 0-4. Anytime you go 0-4 as a top 15, top 20 program, that's there's some red flags for sure. I think a lot of people will point to Coach Avent and kind of some decisions he made, but I think ultimately it just came down to the offensive struggles. I think against a team like Georgia Tech, you're going to have to hit with them, and they just didn't. There was a couple games they had. I think there was one game they had 7 hits, one game they had 9 hits. So like the hits were there. I think it was just timely hitting that they did not come up with, in big spots. And ultimately, I think they put in a guy, Andrew Wiggins, in a pinch hit spot, and he comes through for them, but he's a guy that's only had 6 starts for them. Like, I think ultimately it is some lineup decision issues, which they need to figure out. But, if you're NC State, I think, you've had a tough start to ACC play just because you play BC, who's now ranked, right? You start with them. Then you go to Tallahassee, you lose 2 out of 3 there. And then you go to Atlanta and play at Georgia Tech. I mean, they played an easy non-conference schedule, and now they're getting tested, and now they're seeing, some good ball clubs, which they had. This goes back to my point about it's important to play really good teams early in the season, because when you play them here in late March and April and May, like, you need to be ready to go. And, I'm not saying that's why they're losing these series or why they're having these stretches of games, but it definitely could be something, that is a factor in that. Obviously, I think State's really good still. I'm still really high on this team. I think that before the season, I think they could have hosted. I think their chances to host are a little bit less now, just with, the teams they've played and kind of the results they've had over the last few weeks, but they could easily turn that around too. So we'll see how they play. I don't know. What do you think about State, Reed?
Well, yeah, I mean, they've lost 6 in a row now to fall out of the top 25. Duden on Saturday, I thought I know he gave up 4 or 5 runs, but he kept them in the game. He struck out 9 Georgia Tech batters. I mean, I've talked about Georgia Tech having the best offense in the country. He gave his team a chance to win on Saturday, but like you said, Braxton, they just lacked clutch hitting all week. And then yesterday, Cooper Consiglio, I think that's how you say his name. He was really roughed up. Gave up six, gave up five earned, 6 hits, and then Heath Andrews too. He's been struggling here over the past few weeks, 1 2/3, and then gave up multiple runs as well. So I mean, State needs to right the ship here to get back. Them and Clemson, are sliding right now. I'm not worried yet about NC State. I think they'll bounce back this weekend. Who do they have this weekend? Surely they got to be at home. Surely they're not playing
I think they play Notre Dame at home. So
I mean, that will be another tough series.
they're going to
Like
have
we said,
to.
yeah,
But kind of like you guys said, they're going to have the opportunities to get these RPI points back. As
yeah.
that's going to start to be a discussion more, as well as kind of transition here. Reed Tobin has been working on a field of 64 coming up, so that is another interesting one. Reed Tobin, your thoughts on that as we're starting to get into that?
Yeah, it's still really early. RPI is still not where it's going to be near the end of the season. I mean, you still see some mid majors really highly ranked because of their non conference strength of schedules they've played. But it's starting to matter more. We're hitting April now here this week, so RPI is going to matter here.
RPI is going to matter, just like net, Kim Palm, Torvik, whatever you want to call it, all that crap. Oh, it drives me absolutely insane. Braxton, let's touch on midweek madness for a little bit, not too long here. Are you going to pull up? You don't have to if you don't want to. I can just read off some because you're over an hour. We'll touch on some. Davidson, this is tomorrow, by the way, a pretty big Tuesday slate because of Easter this weekend. Upstate at George Mason, Davidson at Duke, Queens at Elon, Presbyterian at Western Carolina, Liberty, who is always on our slate in the midweek, Liberty at NC State, Wake Forest at High Point. I like that one. Shout out Adam Stewart. That's where Adam Stewart hit his walk-off grand. That's where who Adam Stewart his walk-off grand. Shout out Adam Stewart. Wilmington at East Carolina, College of Charleston at Winthrop, Gardner Webb at North Carolina A&T, Asheville at App State, Battle of the Mountain Folk, Wofford at South Carolina, Coastal Carolina at the Citadel, and Campbell at North Carolina at midnight. Braxton, oh my gosh, that game is so late. But shout out. I also want you to speak on this, Reed. Shout out ESPN. More games are now on ESPN. Yeah. Reed, you watching Sunday Night Baseball last night, West Virginia, Arizona State. That was pretty cool. Some Big 12
need
baseball.
More. Yeah. I think ESPN's missing a golden chance. We need more of that. That was a great game last night. ESPN doesn't have MLB Sunday Night Baseball now, so what better time to have Sunday Night Baseball for college baseball?
And then Clemson and Wake play on Wednesday. Braxton, what are your initial thoughts on Tuesday? And give me a game or two that you'll be having your eye on, sir.
I mean, I love the midweek slates. They're just so nice looking, especially when we get a bunch of in Carolina matchups. I mean, I could sit and watch all these games and enjoy my time. I mean, in the early slate, I'll definitely be watching. Obviously Upstate, but Davidson at Duke, I think, is interesting. We've talked about Duke, we've talked about Davidson, both coming off some interesting weekends. Davidson gets their win against Dayton. Then Duke, I mean, they've kind of been in and out in the midweek. I mean, they lost to, was it High Point? They lost to Campbell.
Yeah,
High Point too.
Yeah, they did.
So they kind of need to step up here in the midweek. If you lose to Davidson, I think there's some definite red flags there. So that's kind of the game I got my eye on the early slate. ECU against UNCW is going to be fireworks. I like the App and Asheville matchup. That's a great matchup. And then Wofford, South Carolina, I think also. I look for Wofford to win that game, but you just never know. And if there's an upset watch tomorrow, I think it's Citadel. If they pull off a win against Coastal, that will make headlines.
Yeah.
I think Coastal's got to be sleeping for that to happen. Personally,
It could be a trap game for Coastal.
true.
Yeah.
This Sunbelt streak they're on, and the Citadel we know is
Yeah.
pretty good at home.
Oh,
They
yeah.
play these teams tight. It could
Oh,
be a
yeah.
spot to watch there.
Is Winthrop Charleston not on TV? There got to be a little
Yeah, I
something,
don't think
right?
it didn't say any. There was no information on TV,
For
so
sure.
we'll check tomorrow. But as of right now, I don't believe that. I think that's the only game that we don't
Yeah.
have TV.
Also, folks, enjoy it. Wilmington fans, Wilmington on the rare ESPN Plus appearance because they're playing East Carolina. So that is very nice, Tobin, as well as Campbell on ACC Network. How awesome is that? Not on Flow Sports. Reed, your thoughts on Tuesday?
Yeah, really good games. We'll see if Campbell, they've been the midweek killer here over the past few weeks. They beat Duke, they beat Coastal, they beat State. So, I mean, they've won 9 in a row, 11 out of their last, or 12 out of their last 13. What was that?
I moved my phone. Did it sound like
okay.
a fart?
Yeah, I
Yes.
did.
I moved my phone across my glass
Your
desk.
nose.
Yeah, it did. But we'll see if Campbell can keep it going tomorrow. That's awesome that it's on ACC Network. I know it was a TBA for a minute, but I guess they finally decided on a time today.
8:00.
Yes, sir. I will have my eyes on ECU and Wilmington as well as Queens and Elon at 4. Queens and Elon at 4. Queens coming close to my neck of the woods here in Mebane. Really looking forward to these games. Wofford, South Carolina, 6:30. We got some late tip-offs. 6:30, 7, and 8 p.m. Interesting there. We'll be watching for sure. Looking forward to that. And then the Clemson Wake Forest, 6:30. Probably on the network, I would assume, Braxton. It's probably why there's no TV destination right now because I think that'll probably be on network on Wednesday. I mean, what else would AZ Network have on? Packer and Durham at 6:30 on Wednesday. So I think Clemson.
Some Clemson spring game highlights or something.
Clemson spring game highlights. Boys, anything else before we wrap up? This was a fantastic show. Also want to shout out all of our followers. For the 500 followers, like I said, if we get to 1,000 and you're the 1,000th follower, you get a brownie sundae. So tell your friends because then you can share it.
Should we touch on the rankings real quick? Just quick rundown of those.
Go ahead, Tobin.
Did you want to pull it up or no?
I don't have it pulled up.
I could just pull it. Look at it on my phone here.
Go ahead,
I mean, 1-2 remains the same. I'll just read them. I'll read them here. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I had Coastal. I had Coastal.
These are the Tobin rankings, people.
As my 2. But to read it off: UNC 1, Coastal 2, Wake 3, State 4, Clemson 5, Wilmington 6, Campbell Big Rise up to 7, Charlotte 8, Duke 9, Winthrop 10, ECU falls from 7 to 11, and then High Point back into the rankings at 12. I think my initial thoughts right now, I think it's a 1A and 1B right now in the Carolinas with the way that UNC and Coastal have been playing. And then I had Campbell a little higher. I mean, they're just on fire right now. But if they continue to win, they're going to continue to move up the rankings.
I definitely think Campbell has an argument, but I mean, they didn't win a weekend series till week three of the season.
Yeah.
So I mean,
then going off that point, Casey, like you look at the series losses they had, it was Cal Poly, Troy, and Wright State. I mean, those are 3 quality opponents.
True.
But yes, I think it. Tobin mentioned that I think you had them at 4 or 5, Tobin. I think they definitely have an argument to be up there. I like where they ended up personally.
I think it's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely fair. They were not even ranked 2 weeks ago, right? I mean, they've just been on this tear that we've had to acknowledge as of late, and I think them just kind of being right there in the middle with the chance to go up or down from here. So we'll see what they do. If they beat Carolina tomorrow, then you might see them, depending on what happens in the weekend, you might see them in the top 4, maybe even top 3. So
that would be quite something if that happens.
Yeah.
Also want to discuss the bottom here. East Carolina drops 4 spots. High Point comes in. Western falls out. Winthrop up 2. I really like 10 through 12 every week because it's normally 2 or 3 Big South teams, and now you have East Carolina there, kind of
yeah,
a massive fall. East Carolina started the season at number 6. That's the highest they've been this season. They are now at 11. And High Point, like we said, we kind of had to do someone wrong last week because of all the winning around them, but High Point has that win over Florida. And Charlotte staying at 8, Duke staying at 9, Campbell moving up, Wilmington at 6. Did we I don't think I had Wilmington over Campbell. Braxton, you did as well. Reed,
I had
you did
Campbell above him.
not. Yeah. So
they play
Yeah.
weeks, by the way.
Yeah, they do. I think. Well, I'll touch on High Point. Just a quick point on that series win over Florida is looking better after the week Florida just had. Beating Florida State, they've already beat them twice this season, and then going to Arkansas and sweeping Arkansas. So,
Good point.
Yeah, I mean that was still just incredibly impressive. Going down to Gainesville and should have swept.
be sure to look at our power rankings on our Instagram at Carolina Curveball and our Twitter as well as TikTok. Braxton does a great job there. Be sure to give that a look. Also, we were on Discord this weekend, so if you ever want to join our Discord, click the link in our bio. Braxton, all of us, Colby, Matt, Reed, James, hop in there and talk some ball in our watch party. But boys, I think that'll do it for tonight. We're at 112 right now. Great show. Touched on a lot of things. I love our in-depth weekend reviews. I think that is one of our highlights of the week. Love talking ball. What happened? Does anyone have anything else to share?
What's the obviously we have Easter weekend this weekend, so what's kind of the plan for Thursday? I mean, there will be a lot of ball on. I guess we'll have a show while the ball is going on. Have you kind of thought about that yet?
Yeah, I gave it some thought. I think maybe we can do a show Thursday. Do you guys want to move it up? Maybe what do you guys think? I'm totally up for what you guys want to do.
I think
Yeah,
we
maybe-
should do Thursday, unless y'all want to do Wednesday.
Tobin?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm fine with Thursday.
We can talk about it off camera.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Looking forward to tomorrow. I'll kind of give my plans here. Me and my lady are going to watch baseball tomorrow. I got some Subway coupons in the mail. We've been craving Subway. Gonna get Subway. Sit and watch baseball on my two TVs. Huh?
What a Tuesday! I mean,
There you go.
Baseball and Subway. Quit playing. I'm gonna have ECU Wilmington on, and as of right now, I think I'm going to go Wofford, South Carolina. Right now, I think I'm going to go Wofford, South Carolina on TV too. Maybe a little split action with High Point, Wake Forest. So, looking forward to that. Be sure to follow our Instagram to pick your stories. We would love to see your picks. We love looking at your guys' picks. Braxton, do we have an update on the? I have it up right now.
Yeah,
man. This Instagram followers last week went
they
to
went
8-3
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8-3. The losses were to UNC Asheville defeating Western, Campbell beating NC State, and A&T beating Gardner Webb. But none of us got that right. I don't think none of us got any of those correct.
Gardner Webb got it right.
Gardner Webb did get it right. We can say that. That was quite something. So, folks, be sure to follow us on Instagram, submit your picks, and thank you for watching. We will update you guys on when we will have our next stream. Good night, fellas. Great show.